Am I the asshole for telling my wife my mother is correct and she needed to be a parent today and she fucked it up? I am waiting in the airport and I need to know if I fucked up or not. This week, my daughter, she is in middle school, lost a classmate. My daughter has not taken it well, and overall, this is her first experience of someone she knows dying. The whole house was excused from school today, and the funeral is happening right now. I, unfortunately, could not be there. I tried, but my toe was denied, and we cannot lose this job. I flew out of Wednesday night, and I am coming back now. Our daughter is a mess. She was friends with the girl that passed away. The plan was for my wife, she is unemployed at the moment, to take her to the funeral/mass and just be there. My wife is more spiritual than the average person and hates all things with the dead. Funerals, viewing, and so on. This one is only a mass funeral, no viewing. She believes in ghosts and will avoid funerals like the plague. We discussed it on Wednesday and she said she would take our kid and then go to the gravesite. I got a call from my daughter sobbing that she wasn't going to the funeral. My wife was refusing to take her. When I got her to answer my call, she told me she can't do it and she is scared to go. I called up my mom and asked her to pick up my daughter and take her to the funeral. My mom left work and took her. They are there now. I got a call from my wife after, with her crying because my mom tore her a new one. The gist was my mom called her a bad parent and that it is so fuck up that she couldn't take out kid to the funeral of a classmate. She wants me to make my mom a polgos, and I told her my mom was right. That this was some tang that our daughter needed, and she fucked up. That she wasn't acting like a parent because of her fear of the dead. All she needed to do was stay through mass. We got into a huge phone call argument, and she is calling me a huge dick. My mom is apparently getting texts also, and I told her to not let our daughter know that we are fighting and if she could look after her for the... Not the asshole. Your wife let her own feelings get in the way of her daughter's. As a parent, she needs to get used to doing things that might make her uncomfortable for the sake of her child's mental health and well-being. Your wife let your daughter down today, and your daughter isn't going to forget that her mother wasn't there for her. They both need therapy. Your daughter, because losing a friend at her age is absolutely traumatizing, and your wife, because her fear of death/ghosts led to her traumatizing your daughter even more. Yeah, the wife messed up. If it weren't for her original poster calling his mom to take his daughter, she would have missed her friend's funeral. That would have been worse. No closure, no support. This would traumatize the kid if you also add her mother letting her down. Wife could have just called original poster's mom herself. She really needs to talk to her daughter and apologize. For the kid to see her mom backed out like that might cause some repercussions. Starting not to trust her own mom, for starters. Truly spiritual people respect and understand death and the dead and the role of ritual in both helping a spirit pass and comforting the living. Original poster's wife is immature, paranoid, and selfish, not spiritual. Yep, this is the answer. U/T HROAWAWAYFUNERALGHO. You need to convince your wife to get into therapy to deal with this fear, not because it's now disordered badly enough that it is impacting her life and the life of your daughter and causing additional harm and potentially creating trauma for your daughter. And you need to get your daughter into some type of ideally licensed therapist guided grief counseling to manage both the loss of her friend and this breach in her relationship and ability to trust her mom to be the adult she needs. Family therapy would honestly also be a good idea so that this doesn't cause the type of rift that ends up with your daughter going low contact/no contact at age 18 or so. Because your wife just basically taught your daughter that she can't be trusted to meet your daughter's needs. And her own comfort will always come before your daughter's emotional health and needs for unconditional love and support. And that is a huge breach of trust which does take time and often outside help and structure to fix. And your kid may be feeling the need to emotionally babysit her mom, which is a form PF abuse called emotional parentification that can lead to adulthood trauma, and your daughter been there doing that therapy now at age 50. Edited for typos. I agree with everything you said. Wife really needed to grow up and be there for her daughter. Also, kudos to grandma for being there for her granddaughter when she needed her. And kudos to her employer/manager for allowing her to leave work early to support her grandchild. My mom was/is terrified of bridges and refused to drive over them when I was a child. I'm now terrified of bridges. She's setting her daughter up for dysfunction. Holy smokes. Not the asshole, but you've got a serious mess on your hands when you get home. If I were you, I'd focus on your daughter's broken heart for a while. Don't try to resolve the anger and mess with your wife's fear of the dead. When you get home, take daughter out for a walk, a cry, and a hug, and talk about what you can do together to remember her friend. Maybe write a story of a fun time together that she can give to the mom of her friend. Let the weird wife situation just lay dormant for a while. Don't apologize, but also don't be a dick about it. When your daughter has been properly attended to, ask for a conversation with your wife. Tell her that you think she let her fears take over, and if she knew she couldn't take her daughter to the funeral of a friend, then she needed to be the one to arrange alternate transportation. The full drop-off and ignoring her child was a bad parenting call. I'm the parent who lost her kid. I would have noticed if my kid's closest friends weren't at the funeral last year. Take care of your child. Your wife failed her. And her friend. Agree, you need to focus on your daughter first. Not the asshole and part of parenting is putting down your own issues to handle those of your children. Your wife instead put hers first. I'm 42. When I was 12, a close friend of mine died suddenly. My mother, knew and didn't tell me. B refused to let me go to any services because it would be too sad to see a dead child and see. Was actually furious when I figured out that she died because my mother didn't want me to know. I have not forgiven her for what she did back then. I never will. So thank you for being a good person. Not the asshole, but I actually hate your wife. Internet stranger here also furious with your mom. What the heck? I have not forgiven her for what she did back then. I felt the same way when my mother lied to me about my childhood dog. We were in the process of moving and she had a friend watch the dog. The person watching it let it wander out into the street where it was run over and killed. Granted, this would have emotionally devastated me as a small child. So my mother decided to lie about it and say the friend was still watching the dog until we got settled into the new place. I'm not sure what her end game was here, or if she even had one, because I obviously wasn't just going to forget I had a dog. So finally one day, after we seemed quite settled in the new house, I asked when we were getting the dog back, and she finally told me the truth. So not only did I end up experiencing the pain of the loss she was trying to shield me from, but it also permanently damaged the relationship with my mother. I understand wanting to protect children from sad events, but life is full of sad events, and you cannot successfully shield a child from all of them. Part of growing up is experiencing sadness and loss, and learning how to cope with those feelings. Something similar happened when I was around 8-ish and a girl I knew at gymnastics passed in car accident. My mom refused to take me to the memorial with the girls who knew her. But she's also the type to say, get over it. It was years ago. You need to let go of the past. My family pulled this let's not tell the child the sad thing bullshit with my mom's cancer until she literally died at home one day. I'm still trying to figure out the logic. As a child, my husband witnessed his best friend get hit by a car and killed. His parents would not let him go to the funeral for fear it would scar him. He's now in his early 60s, and anytime there's something unpleasant going on, he runs and hides. If I get sick, he ignores me. If, during menopause, I would be sitting on the couch crying, he would take the dog and get as far away from me as possible. Death is a part of life, and parents need to realize they're doing their child a great disservice by trying to protect them from death. He saw his friend die, but a funeral would be too sad. He needs some therapy too. Acting that way as an adult is ridiculous. As a child, my husband witnessed his best friend get hit by a car and killed. His parents would not let him go to the funeral for fear it would scar him. He's now in his early 60s, and anytime there's something unpleasant going on, he runs and hides. If I get sick, he ignores me. If, during menopause, I would be sitting on the couch crying, he would take the dog and get as far away from me as possible. Death is a part of life, and parents need to realize they're doing their child a great disservice by trying to protect them from death. Oh, commenter, this broke my heart a little. In the kindest way possible, I wish he was supportive in the sickness and in health part of his vows to you. Health decline isn't always drastic, but is also just a part of us aging, and you deserve someone who won't ignore you when you're sick. Editing to add, I am seated in a waiting room because I took a family member to their appointment. An elder gentleman came in, pushing a wheelchair where his wife is seated. They are currently giggling about teaching their toddler grandchild and how they are so happy she identified a can of sardines, paraphrasing, "It's the sardines from Costco." You and your husband should both seek individual therapy. You deserve a partner who's actually there for you, and he needs to work through his trauma. It's not his fault, but it's his responsibility to get help, as it's negatively affecting you in massive ways. Not the asshole. I am thinking we need to go to counseling, still had a way to get to the funeral, therapy for this, because your mother for sacrificing her time because your wife sucks. When I went to a classmate's funeral, but your wife could have even dropped your daughter off and arranged a ride home after. She didn't even think of solutions, only ways to be a friend for ice cream afterwards. And I remember my dad talking to me about it, and my sister either couples counseling or divorce myself if my husband tried this with one of my kids. Have to sleep alone. It's been more than 20 years, and I remember the love and support like it was yesterday. I imagine the impact of lack of support being profound on someone this young. Not the asshole. The cardinal rule of parenting is to do what is best for your kid whenever it is possible. Your wife decided her discomfort was more important than your daughter's need for closure. That's simply a bad parenting decision / selfish action. She could have even taken her daughter to the funeral, dropped her off, and sat in the car. Heck, she could have arranged for another parent to pick her up and drop her off if she was that unwilling to suck it up for an afternoon. Instead, she made her child suffer emotionally because of her own feelings on the matter. Not the asshole. Very well put. I couldn't agree more. My mother was fucked up like original poster's wife. She just didn't want to or couldn't deal with anything difficult. When I was 11 years old, we were traveling and I saw a young woman get shot in the head in a drive-by shooting from about 10 feet away. Watched the whole thing with no one between us. I can still close my eyes and picture the entire scene, even though it was over 40 years ago. After the police took my statement, my mother never talked about it again. If I tried to bring it up, she just yelled at me. Don't think about that. I was scared out of my fucking mind of dying randomly on the street for years, but afraid to share my fear with anyone because my mother was so selfish she wasn't willing to deal with anything. It is only one of the many reasons I haven't talked to her in decades. Not the asshole. I used to be severely arachnophobic, but I was watching my niece once and this big-ass spider fell into the bathtub with her. She screamed bloody murder and I came running. I scooped that spider out of the tub with my bare hands and threw it in the toilet without even thinking first. And that wasn't even my kid. Adults should not let our irrational fears impact our children. Your wife should have either sucked it up and gone to the service, or called for help herself and gotten your mom or a friend or someone else to ensure your daughter got to go and process her grief. Your wife was in the wrong, and I don't blame your mom for fussing at her since she had to take off work last minute to make things right. I only hope she didn't do the dressing down in front of your daughter, as that will only make things more confusing. Your wife and daughter both need some therapy. Please take my poor person trophy for overcoming your fear to help your niece. You might say it's part of the job, but as this post reflects, some still won't do it. Not the asshole. Your wife is scared of ghosts? So scared she just refused to do something this important for your daughter? Seriously? It sounds like she needs therapy? Yes, your mom was 100% correct. She utterly failed as a parent. Exactly. I'd like to add, if original poster doesn't address this, they are kinda an for ignoring the larger issue, which is their child was clearly suffering and her mom couldn't be there to support her. Original poster, does your wife act like an adult, or does she need to be taken care of? Can she handle adult situations and decisions? Can she handle / understand finances? Does she often have breakdowns and complain about being overwhelmed? Does she often make things about herself? If yes, then she needs to grow up. In my opinion, she not only failed her child today, but her marriage. I am a mother, and I am seething right now. She deserved being chewed out by your mom, who likely did that because she has witnessed your wife act like a child for far too long and finally lost it. Also, if ghosts are real, they'd be everywhere? No? Like they wouldn't be tied to just funeral homes. There could be one in their house right now. I bet she goes to her own funeral. If I believed in ghosts, I'd make damn sure I didn't keep my kid away from her friend's funeral, because it feels like that's just asking for vengeance from an angry 12-year-old ghost. Thank you very much for watching. Put likes, write comments, and wait for new videos on the channel.